¿Cómo están? Excelente. And welcome back to Learning with Senor Cacao. Let's go ahead and get to it. Here is the warm-up. This one is a PowerPoint. So remember, everything we're doing here is in the past tense. So treat these as if it happened yesterday. For example, in Spanish, number 1 should say Esteban and Lana ran. They ran. All right. Saquen papel y practiquen. Pause the video now. All right, so first one would be Esteban y Lana corrieron. Número 2, Lorenzo bebió agua. Número 3, yo comí una manzana. 4, tú hablaste por teléfono. Laura escuchó música. Make sure to have your accent mark on the O. And nosotros jugamos al fútbol, or maybe even something like practicamos el fútbol. Okay. And on number 2, if you said tomó, that's fine as well. Just make sure, again, that your accent mark is on your O. All right. So next, we are going to practice, we're going to look at your preterite tense endings. Okay. So, there we go. All right, so the preterite tense, don't forget, is in the past tense, and it happened once, okay? Like, he ate the hot dog, we went to Spain. So here are your endings. Whew. Sorry, teachers get very tired around grades due time. All right, so here are your endings. Your AR verbs. It goes, haste o, amos, hastes aron, ER and IR. Iste, io, imos, istes, iero. And remember that little io, because the accent mark is on the I here, and here it's on the O. Okay? Now, at this time in the class, I called on people to ask them questions, and I said things like, just imagine what you would say back. ¿Qué comiste ayer? Yo comí fruta. ¿Qué miraste anoche en televisión? Yo miré Disney. ¿Qué bebiste la semana pasada? Yo bebí Coca-Cola. So that was something we did in class. Now let's go over the answers to your worksheet. Also, don't forget there's these little words like ayer, anteayer, anoche, which are really useful for talking about the past tense. Okay, so let's do this. This is what your sheet looks like. So again, at the top, it's got your endings. And then here you have to finish the sentence and so on. So I'm going to be going over the same thing, but I put this on a Word document so we can see it better here. Okay, so it's all kind of squished, but you get the idea. All right, number 1. Yo hablé, and then whatever else you want to put. Yo hablé en la clase. Nosotros comimos tacos. Ellos vivieron en Miami. Tú miraste televisión la semana pasada. Just throw something there. And Paula, what did I say, beber? Did it too fast, yeah. Paula bebió jugo de manzana. All right, so this one says, answer these questions. Well, if the question is, ¿Qué comiste ayer? What did you eat yesterday? You'd say, comí Cocoa Pebbles. Yeah, that's my favorite cereal. I have a Canadian friend who had no idea what Cocoa Pebbles were. So, looks like we have that and they don't. All right, number 2. ¿Dónde estudiaste anoche? Estudié en mi casa, estudié in Starbucks, etc. ¿Qué estudiaron tus amigos? This one is asking, what did your friends study? What did they study? Well, estudiaron inglés. They studied English. All right, we ran yesterday would be corrimos ayer. I swam last night. Nadé anoche. He lived in Florida. Vivió en Florida. All right, to English. Yo hablé español ayer. I spoke Spanish yesterday. Mi amigo bebió el agua la semana pasada. My friend drank water last week. And nosotros comimos la fruta. We ate fruit. Very simple, basic sentences. Now, as far as the crossword puzzle, I don't really need to go over that. If you got one that did not fit, then it's wrong. You could email me or something and ask me what was number 3 across. For example, like number 3, I'll just say them. All right, mis amigos escucharon música. Teresa vivió en Colorado. Yo miré la televisión. Yo canté en el restaurante. Ellos hablaron ayer. Nosotros comimos pizza. Pedro bebió todos los refrescos. Los guerreros pelearon en la guerra. The warriors fought in the war. Los jugadores corrieron al campo. Tú caminaste a la escuela. Yo escribí un libro hace 3 días. El enemigo gritó, ¡ah! The enemy shouted, ¡ah! Okay, so that is the worksheet. Now, let's have a look here. Okay, another thing that we did was to ask a question in Spanish. So it's where you write your own question. ¿Dónde estudiaste anoche? ¿Qué leíste la semana pasada? So if you want, you can make up your own question, but not to turn in or anything. Okay. Now, the next thing that we did in class today was a thing where you have to finish the story. Okay. So we really just had time to read the story, so we'll do the same here. All right. It says, ayer, Ricardo, so just kind of follow along here. Ayer, Ricardo salió de su casa a las 8 de la mañana. Comió un sándwich de queso y huevos en McDonald's y bebió un café con leche. Después jugó al básquetbol con su amigo Juan. Ricardo y Juan jugaron por 2 horas. Próximo, ellos fueron a la casa de Juan para beber agua y descansar. De repente, suddenly, ellos corrieron a CBS. Ooh. In my original version of this, which is somewhere on the hard drive, I said that a ghost came out of the closet and said, I'm going to eat your heads. So that one was, I guess, more exciting. So anyway, now the last thing, I have posted 2 sets of notes on Google Classroom, and there's a lot of overlap, which is good news for you. So on this one, I go over the preterite tense, so there's your basic endings, some examples, and then those words that we went over. Under that, we start to get into some of the irregular verbs. So let me just kind of explain these. So first is dar, which is to give, and that one goes diste dio, dimos diste dieron. Ver is to see, viste vio, vimos viste vieron. Now, I'm not spending a lot of time actually going over this because it's review. You learned this last year. Hacer is, I'll make one quick note here, 1 second. Okay. Hacer is to make or to do. So this one has a special spelling change. It goes hice, hiciste, hizo, hicimos, hicistes, hicieron. So that one we have to change it to a Z, so it still goes like hacer. And then ir and ser are fui, fuiste, fue. So for example, if you want to say, I went to Walmart, fui a Walmart. He was the principal. Él fue el director. Now these over here are the ones that are special. They have their own special roots. So it goes like this. Estar, you can't just conjugate like any other verb and just say yo esté. No. You've got to say yo estuve. Tú estuviste. Nosotros estuvimos. They were. Ellos estuvieron. So you just put one with the other. Like, for example, let's do poner. So we put would be pusimos. They put pusieron. He put puso. All right, so you take the little thing and it looks like this. Tuve. I had. Yo tuve. We had. Tuvimos. So if you learn all the pieces, you just stick them together. Tuve, tuvo, tuvimos. Okay, now stem changing verbs, I will show you in Paint, which is a very professional tool. So remember with stem changing verbs, these are your conjugations. You have your 6 conjugations, and then we have the magic boot. Everything in there has a stem change, like with the verb. That's going to bug people, I know. Hold on, I'll fix it. Like with the verb dormir. Duermo, duermes, duerme, duermen. Out here, dormimos, dormís. Okay? Now, so that's the boot. Remember that. With the preterite tense in a stem changing verb situation, it's only the bottom 2 conjugations. Like this. Okay? And let me show you an example. Like dormir, for example. So you can see here we have durmió and we have durmieron. It's only the bottom 2. So if the present tense is the boot, this is the boot print because the boot has already passed. And there you go. The bottom 2 are the ones that stem change in the past. So anyway, so that's how that works. So dormir becomes durmió, durmieron. Morir, murió, murieron. And also notice these are all IR verbs. Sirvió, pidió, prefirió. Okay? Now these are the car-gar-zar verbs, and these only change for yo. You have to change the spelling. And I'll show you why. Let's do with, what's a good car? Tocar. Okay? So with tocar, when you say let's say I played the guitar. So you take tocar and you put your ending, right? But the problem is any form of tocar has to go ka. And this does not go ka. That would be pronounced tose. And someone's going to get confused because they don't know what verb you're talking about. So what we do instead is we take out car and we change it to ke. Toque. Tocar, toque. Everybody else is fine. Tocaste, tocó, tocamos, etc. They're all the same except for yo is irregular. Toque. So it's just a spelling thing. Okay, and the same happens with these others. Car turns into ke, gar turns into ge, and sar turns into se. All right? So there you go. Now I'm going to finish this page, and we'll go over the second page tomorrow. Let me make a note of that. One more second. Okay, so we're almost done. So this is what we call yo yeron. So first of all, and this is mentioned on the other sheet, if you have a verb like leer, where you got 2 strong vowels in the root, in the original infinitive, you got those 2 vowels next to each other. So it goes lei Leíste. And here's what would happen. Leyó. Now, we don't want to have three vowels in a row because it just starts falling apart and sounds like your mouth just turns into warm cheese. So what we say instead is we say leyó, and then down here we say leyeron. Okay? Otherwise, it's pretty normal. Leímos, leístes, and there you go. So leyó, leyeron. So as you can see, these bottom two are getting a lot of attention with the preterite stuff, right? Sim changers, things like this. So let me go back to this. So verbs that end with huir, you do the oyeron, okay, and you do it for the bottom two conjugations, él, ella, usted, ellos, ellos, ustedes. So for example, these work the same way as what I just showed you. So construí, construiste, construyó, construimos, construistes, construyeron. All right, and again, we'll look at that again a little bit tomorrow. Okay, so there's no assignment today, especially because the video itself took so long. So just look over that and make sure to study up. And we will have some kind of test over this stuff next week. All right? So also don't forget anything you got to get made up, get it made up. Okay, we want to get those F's up, up, up. All right, I will see you next time. Adios.